So there you go. You can see China in 2016 was actively buying up multiple production houses, studios, AMC movie theater chains, etc. So it's not false. Okay, SNEAKO is being dishonest because he's going from the people that were attacking Alex at the time saying, Alex won't talk about Jewish Hollywood, he'll only talk about China. Alex was reading the article that they were purchasing it from, obviously from them.
Demographics are changing. Not involved in the university. This is why the West is getting replaced. Involved in Hollywood. China doesn't control and own big parts of Hollywood. Yeah. Alex Jones is China doesn't.
So we just saw that SNEAKO is 100% wrong. That's actually true.
Are you kidding me?
The Chinese. I mean, this is why the West is changing, because when you spread these lies that the Chinese control Hollywood, people get confused.
No, they don't control it. They bought several of the major powerhouse studios, production houses, etc. That's what he said.
And you mix the truth with lies. SNEAKO. You say some things that are true and say 10 lies.
That's an old white supremacist attack on me that I cover China. I mean, look at brain dead Mitch McConnell and his wife flees to China, who's a known Chi-Com agent. And you look at Fang and Swallows Well and all the Chinese spies.
So again, all foreign nations engage in foreign espionage operations. And China has, for many, many decades, been buying up large areas of American industry and strategic corporation stuff. In fact, a lot of our industry was intentionally designed to be shipped off to China. And actually, the Rothschilds had a role in that. There's a book about this, about the fact that the Rothschilds played a key role in helping to set up Walmart, getting all of that cheap product and cheap labor from China. I forget the name of that book, but it was put out many years ago by the Spotlight, which was Jim Tucker's thing that exposed Bilderberg for forever. Well, they published Michael Collins Piper's book on the role of Israel and JFK called Final Judgment. They also put out a book about the Rothschilds' role in Walmart and China. So these things are not antithetical. People think that if you talk about China, well, that's automatically, well, did you know Israel has sold America's secrets to China? So a lot of these things overlap.
And just again, are you saying China geopolitically is not our main military adversary? It is not the main spy force?
I didn't say that. I said China does not predominantly control Hollywood. I didn't say anything.
So again, that's why it's more complex than that. So they already admitted earlier in the debate that one of the largest groups coming into America is China, right? In terms of migrants. If you go to Houston, this is crazy. I remember the first time we went to Houston for the Sophia conference, Orthodox conference in 20, I think it was 19 or 20. I don't know that I've ever been to Houston before. And the conference is very close to what is far greater than Chinatown. I don't even know what you would call it. It's China County, basically. There are entire mile-long sections of gigantic business districts within Houston. You will not see English on the billboards. You will see Cantonese, you'll see Chinese billboards. You'll go for miles and you won't see anything but Chinese. And I remember I was mystified by this. I was like, what is it? I've never even seen it. I mean, I've been to LA and San Francisco. I've been to Chinatown, but I've never seen this. This is like China County, dude. The number one largest migration is, at one point back in 2020 or so, was Chinese, and probably India now. And the number one area is Houston. So they're basically setting up a China in Houston. And to talk about that, oh, you're covering up for Jews. You covering up for Jews because you mentioned China.
I'm going to say this very slowly to you.
You said two separate things.
I'm going to say this very slowly. Wall Street Journal, like 15 years ago, did an article about how China bought a controlling interest of 6 of the...
Yeah, we literally just watched the video version of that article. So Alex is correct.
10 top Hollywood production companies. I didn't say they were the producers. I didn't say that they were the directors. That's mainly Jews. And I said that in the full show.
So
just like I did an hour on atrazine with scientific studies and clips, and then said, I don't want them putting chemicals in the water, turn the freaking frogs gay. The media only showed that 10-second clip, not me showing all the studies. And of course, I was proven right.
Yeah, kind of like you when you clip up everything and try to make me sound...
Are you saying China does not have a controlling interest, I don't know what it is now, in a lot of U.S. media?
Of course, but it's predominantly Jewish supremacists, and you're messing up the conversation by redirecting it towards.
Well, now you notice SNEAKO just moved the goalposts, because now it's moved away from whether it was the case to who's predominantly running these things. So at first it started out that Alex was reading an article and he mentioned that they bought up a bunch of the studios, which we saw is true. And now SNEAKO's just purity spiraling and saying, well, but you won't say that the Jews are basically doing it all.
Simply talk about the anti-Western, anti-white, anti-Christian.
If you want to protect this country, then talk about the main issue, Alex. Don't just get it twisted with a bunch of nonsense.
You're doing like Dan Bilzerian did, saying Nick Fuentes doesn't go on Piers Morgan and big shows talk about Israel when he does. That's just not true. That's this thing of, I talk more about Israel than you do. No, Yeah,
well, and by the way, Nick did the same thing to me, where it was like, oh, you don't actually talk about this enough. And it's like, well, Nick, now you're literally saying all the stuff that I said. So all the criticisms that Nick had of me like 2 years ago, a year ago, basically Nick says all the same positions that I say now. So I was correct.
Just talk about all the major power blocks in the world. That's what I do.
And you're confusing people when you say globalist China.
Anybody watching can type in Chinese interest in Hollywood production companies, China funding anti-American stuff, China taking over U.S. universities via the Confucius Institutes. That's a whole other subject. China putting kill switches in U.S. computers.
It's a whole other subject. Let's stick to the main subject that's destroying our country.
No, you created a straw man that I said China controls Hollywood. I
didn't say straw man. I said that you're confusing the conversation. You're just making people focus on things.
He said, I didn't say straw man. Obviously, you're not going to say straw man, you idiot, when you're going to be cunning and use deception. Alex said you engaged in a fallacy. But again, SNEAKO doesn't even know what fallacies are. So even Alex just knowing like a couple fallacies has allowed him to completely, so far, dominate SNEAKO in this debate.
Things that are not extremely important. The most important issue.
No, I didn't bring up China in this conversation. You just did.
You brought up a million things in 5 seconds because you don't want to stick to one topic because you just want to misdirect the entire time.
You're not controlling the debate is what's happening here.
Well, the debate is about you calling for my deportation. The debate is about you call for my deportation.
By the way, reminder, according to Orthodox Muslim, he says he can arrange me to debate him on SNEAKO, on SNEAKO's thing, wherever SNEAKO does his stuff. I don't know where, but so that might happen next week. I don't even know if this guy actually knows SNEAKO or not. It could just be, who knows, but he said he wants to debate Trinity in the Old Testament and Messianic prophecies. And I'm like, you want to debate our position? I mean, this will be a first. Muslims never want to debate our positions. They always want to debate Quran, Bible contradiction. So I don't know why he would accept that debate. Maybe he's just needing some attention. But we all remember the last time I debated on SNEAKO's channel. Remember what happened? Andrew came in. They got mad. Andrew made jokes about Muhammad's stuff, his weenus. They got mad. They booted him. They asked me to come on and do the rest of the debate. And it was the pretty much seems like the end of Muslim Lantern's debating career. He was a rising Dawa hot star. I haven't heard hide nor hair of Muslim Lantern since that debate. I don't know where he's at. Maybe he's still doing stuff and I just don't see it. But I noticed that outside of my platforms, that debate has disappeared. I don't think it's on Grumble anymore. I don't think it's on whatever other, like they got rid of it because if you guys remember when they did the poll, which was not just for Orthodox, they did a poll and it was like 65, 30, 30, 60, 30, 60, 40 saying that Muslim Lantern got demolished. And that was on SNEAKO's channel. Remember that? I mean, I had it on my channel too because I was like, I'm not trusting you guys, so I'm gonna dual stream this if we're gonna do this debate. I don't trust y'all at all, and I don't think it exists on their channels anymore. I wonder why. By the way, that debate is still accessible on my channel, and I reshared it on X. If you scroll down, here's one version of it that's an hour and 16. This is my version of it. Here's another version of it that's an hour and a half. That might be mine too. This is something that somebody clipped from, I think from SNEAKO's version of it on his channel. So there's multiple clips and versions of this. And, but I don't think the full 3-4 hours that had Andrew is even on their Grumble page anymore. It may be, and I just couldn't find it. But anyway.
worked with Hitler. The Zionists worked with Hitler to not let any Jews get out that wouldn't give them part of the money. The Zionists and give the rest to Hitler. Madeleine Albright's dad was one of the main guys that ran it. George Soros was a low-level guy.
Man, he has the most annoying, condescending smirk. You can just look at his, every time Al starts talking, he's got this like condescending smirk because he knows he doesn't know any of the history because he's an idiot, but he's just waiting for like a way to like be tricky and sneaky.
Went around finding hidden Jews to get their money. And they worked with Hitler to only let Jews get out to what was going to become Israel. And Israel hired top SS officers to set up the Mossad. And they hired top Nazi assassins to set up the Mossad.
And that's true. That's Otto Skorzeny and Reinhard Gehlen. That's absolutely true.
And they never really hunted down Nazis, just like the U.S. government shipped them over here. And then Israel blew up synagogues all over Spain and all over the Middle East to blame it on Muslims to then get Jews to immigrate to Israel. And Israel founded and created Hamas. And Israel works with Al-Qaeda and gave them field hospitals. And so see, that what I'm saying is secretly behind the evil scenes, you've got Islam working with Israel in a big sick plan.
Islam's working with Israel?
Yes, Islam in various branches does work with Israel, you goober.
Yeah, not Iran. But
Islam's working with Israel.
Definitely Saudi Arabia.
I'm not trying to get a clip. Are you saying Islam
definitely UAE? Yeah, you didn't know
Islam
that?
works with Israel.
Yeah, many of those countries are openly in league with Israel, you goober.
The UAE is not representative of Islam. The UAE is not the caliphate.
Did Israel?
Yeah, he's talking about Islamic countries and sectors of Islam, not the entire religion. But by the way, the entire religion, according to many of the rabbis, is absolutely a version of Judaism. They call it the broom of Judaism. And we played that clip many times, countless rabbis saying they have no problem with Islam in terms of the way that it affects the Western countries, especially the Christian countries. Doesn't mean that they like it or that they're totally on board with it, but they don't have a problem with it going forth and screwing up who they perceive to be the enemy, Christianity or Rome or Edom.
Back Al-Qaeda in Syria.
Islam is not working with Israel. Islam is a...
Again, sectors of Islam are absolutely in league with Israel. Countless Mossad heads. Netanyahu himself has talked about funding and aiding Hamas. They've talked about funding ISIS. We all know Timber Sycamore was just declassified. That was the CIA and Mossad co-plan working together with not just Islam, but also the Muslim Brotherhood and all types of sects to overthrow Assad. Timber Sycamore. I was writing about Timber Sycamore before we knew the name of it because it wasn't declassified what the name was, but it was obvious that it was going on. Here's the New York Times. $1 billion program to overthrow Assad using ISIS together, CIA and Mossad. We already covered Victor Ostrovsky's books. Victor Ostrovsky, former Mossad, wrote 2 books, By Way of Deception, and then I forget the name of the other one, something about war, where he says, of course we fund the Muslim Brotherhood. Of course we fund ISIS and Al-Qaeda because they destabilize our surrounding peoples. He says, we would prefer a destabilized series of neighbors that we can control and manage the chaos versus surrounding Islamic countries rising up and being a significant challenge. It also gives, as we said with John Kiriakou when we did that interview, I said, John, you've been in the Middle East, you understand the situation. Is it accurate to say that Israel prefers destabilized groups around them because it also gives them a victim status that they can say, look, we're surrounded by enemies, give us everything? And he said, of course. We've covered this a zillion times, but you don't talk about Zionism and you won't talk about, dude, I'm the person that was talking about Mossad books before anyone else was. I was reading Mossad books before any of these people were.
Religion. The people make mistakes. The leadership has clearly betrayed the Ummah. We agree. We know. But don't misconstrue.
Oh, so now it's, some of the Islamic leaders have betrayed Islam and they're working with Mossad in the West. Yeah, sure.
It and say that these are the people that are taking, this is the government of Islam when they don't follow Sharia law.
Didn't it just come out recently that Netanyahu was sending money to Qatar? So when they say you're a Qatari agent, if you critique Israel, the irony is that no, actually Netanyahu had a secret deal with Qatar. That's what's funny about this.
The UAE, they have casinos in Dubai.
Sharia is the governance of Islam. You said I was wrong. You just said it yourself.
The UAE is the governance of Islam?
No, I just said Sharia.
Syria?
Sneaky.
Sharia. I actually think, I'm kind of starting to think that he might just actually be kind of retarded. I mean, he's either intentionally constantly misunderstanding and misconstruing, or he's actually just kind of dumb.
Sharia is the.
I know. You think you're
what government are you? Okay, so you're afraid of Sharia law. What government is practicing Sharia law that's threatening America?
I said that's the governance of Islam is Sharia.
Right. What country is threatening America with this?
Oh my God!
It doesn't have to be a country. It's the ideology of Islam itself that is the problem, not a country.
In Austin, they handed out Qurans and had little girls wear hijabs without parents knowing and said you need to adopt Sharia.
Handing out Qurans is a.
They're the city councils trying to get Sharia. They have their own police forces in Michigan that were popping up saying Sharia. You said don't tell your story. I'm going to tell it. My wife was at HEB at like 9 o'clock at night a couple months ago, and a Muslim in a nightgown, wearing the traditional outfit, comes up and says, "You should not be out at night. You could get," and like got in her face and was yelling at my wife. I mean, I can show you 100 videos in the UK where they're bitching and saying, "Don't bring your dog to the park," and the liberals go, "Yes, we need to ban dogs. The Muslims don't like you." I don't trust anybody who doesn't like dogs. SNEAKO, what do you think of dogs?
I like dogs. Like, Alex, do you want to have
then you're not a good Muslim.
The whole point of this conversation was that
you are violating what Muhammad said. Unless a dog is used for sheep herding, it is not halal. It is bad. I want you to reject Islam right now. I want you to get a nice French bulldog.
Okay. You can have a dog. It just doesn't need to be in the house licking your face in your bed. Just keep it outside. You can have a dog. If you want to know about Islam. The whole point
of this... I just told you I know about Islam.
Okay,
I just said...
This is kind of... I mean, what did you...
And here's one of those examples, as I mentioned. This is former Mossad head right here talking about supporting radical Islam to overthrow Assad.
It's been treating wounded Syrian rebel fighters in its hospitals on the border, including fighters from Nusra Front.
Aiding them, I should say here.
Al-Qaeda proxy in Syria. Do those reports worry you that Israel's helping wounded Al-Qaeda aligned fighters?
As I said before, in a different context, it's always useful also to deal with your enemies in a humane way. And I think that when you have people who are wounded and you can deal with them in a humane way, the considerations as to whether to take them in are not simply whether it's politically useful or whether it's politically
So it's purely humanitarian, you say. So there's no tactical or political strategic...
I didn't say there's no tactical. I said the main consideration, the immediate consideration is humane.
But the tactical issues involved, I mean, you know better than me the phrase blowback. You don't think there's going to be blowback against Israel if you get into bed with a group like Nusra Front?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be blowback.
Why?
Because I think that, unfortunately, the rules of the game in Syria are such that you can do anything that is not possible to be done anywhere else.
Yeah, I think people said that in Afghanistan too. Would you also treat Hezbollah fighters?
No.
So there you go. Another example. There's many. You just go watch if you don't want to read Victor Ostrovsky's book, just listen to his talk on C-SPAN on YouTube.
Saying Joe Rogan, I'm kind of retarded. Like, this is kind of retarded right now.
No, that was me quoting Socrates. Was it Aristotle? I know that I know nothing.
Okay. We're going all over the place. The whole point of this was that you called for my deportation because you're upset about what I said. And you asked a question and you went on a million tangents. You said, why did you say that you want people to become Muslim? For the same reason you say every knee will bow, every tongue confess. You want people to have goodness. I don't want to force anybody. I don't want to spread it by the sword.
You said every...
Now he's changed it from whether Islam teaches these stages of conversion and forced conversion, etc., and the jizya and all that. Now SNEAKO again moved the goalpost to say, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. That's not... The question is, does your religion teach that? You're supposed to. And you said in your video, we are going to take over. So he's just a total liar.
Else will be under this.
Inshallah. Inshallah. God willing, people will know the truth. This is the same statement.
I like you. You have big balls.
Turn the freaking frogs gay.
That's from Team America. He goes, I saw him drop fire on my goats. That's when I knew I'd do a jihad on their ass.
I mean, like, Al, do you be real for a second? I mean, you're a funny guy. Do you want to make a change? Like, do you want to use your platform for good?
I think I'm gonna be like Muhammad and have 30 black dudes ride me.
You don't even know what you're talking about if you want to make stupid insults. This is like saying that the Holy Spirit was gonna astaghfirullah come on the Virgin Mary because you don't know how to translate or read it properly. You said it, you read it twice. You don't know anything about Islam, bro. You didn't know what jihad meant. I'll tell you about it if you want to know. Did you know that?
No, he actually did. He just used the third stage of jihad. And because it didn't explain all the stages of jihad, SNEAKO's acting like you don't even know what jihad is. No, actually, you don't. I actually think probably SNEAKO doesn't know.
Oh, so under Islam,
Did you know that Jesus was
does it
Messiah?
say in the writings that if you are a herder and there is no woman, you may take a sheep or a boy? Do they have the thing of the dancing boys in
You're
Islam?
learning that you read the Quran on Facebook from Boomer Slop that programs evangelicals.
Boomer Slop.
Boomer Slop. Yeah, the boomers that are in mega churches saying
Did you know
God
the
bless those.
CIA did the mayors put all these mayors in
You
Afghanistan?
can interrupt me the whole time. You can
They didn't pay
interrupt
him.
me,
They
you can interrupt me
didn't
the whole
give him
time. This is the same Boomer Slop that convinces Americans that
Boomer
God must,
Slop.
that convinces Americans that God must bless those that bless the state of Israel. This is what Mike Huckabee is saying. They're saying I'm a me.
Well, Alex actually doesn't believe that and didn't make that argument. So this is a genetic fallacy. So even if Alex got this argument from evangelicals or from Boomer Slop memes, which I don't think that he did, but even if he did, that wouldn't mean that the argument's false. So again, SNEAKO is just a fallacy factor. He's like a machine gun of fallacies. Has no idea what he's talking about. The question is, yeah, but is this actually in the Quran or in the Hadiths? Not what's the source of it, Boomer Slop.
I don't believe that. That's not in the Bible. It's
Ted Cruz is posting about the IDF on July 4th. Clearly, the influence is coming from one place.
clearly Netanyahu and all of them said in Huckabee that we owe Israel our existence, and all that's not true. I've covered it all.
Okay, and the American government, people.
So, and again, these are all deflections because even if Alex was a Zio freak, like what would that have to do with the argument about what's in the Quran? I mean, David Wood is an insane Zio freak, but David Wood makes many arguments that are true against Islam, against the Quran. So the other positions that you hold have nothing to do with whether the argument at the point that you're making right now, whether it's true or false. So this is again, and if you've done 10 years of debates with Muslims like we have almost, you notice that this is all they ever do is this very low tier deflecting into just constant genetic fallacies, constant either ors, constant non sequiturs, constant tu quoque ways. They just cannot do basic argumentation. I'm trying to think of any Muslims that can even, like maybe Jake can at least understand and recognize fallacies. I'm not saying Jake is that great of a debater, but he's probably their best. He's better than Hikichu, because even Hikichu can't even like recognize fallacies and at least try to avoid them.
Like Randy Finder saying ban Islam. Laura Loomer Jigsaw. This lady is saying ban Islam. Why are
I heard you and Laura.
What does that have to do with whether, again, genetic fallacies? The fact that Laura Loomer is an insane Zionist has nothing to do with whether the arguments are true or false.
Loomer, I heard you and Lauren Loomer might be dating soon.
There's no way you're even a serious person. Like, did you? Would you?
I like that the way Alex handles this is just constantly throw in like trolling jokes, right? Because it's not a serious debate.
Oh, I'm not a serious person?
You do it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Look, I don't know if Laura Loomer's... That has aura. That has aura. Become Muslim. Abdul Alex Jones. Inshallah, Alex Jones is Muslim.
Will you wear the burqa again? I saw you in that latest video where you're like wearing it like a woman.
It's a scarf. It's a scarf. It's wearing it like a woman. It's not a hijab. Also, how do nuns dress? You're like insulting the hijab. Trump is posting kindergarten girls.
Those are women that are chastened that have decided to go into that life.
Yeah. So are the hijabi girls.
Oh, they want to. Oh, so in Saudi Arabia, women don't have to wear the hijabs?
Yeah.
Well, since the crown prince started reform.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So now wait a minute. So now it is a choice. But so are you saying that Saudi Arabia was wrong when it wasn't a choice? But now it is a choice, so therefore it's good? I mean, it just shows you how silly this is. And by the way, great video on an angle that most people miss in terms of refuting Islam. Is our buddy Kyle did an interview with our other buddy Kai from Orthodox Shahada. And Kai had a phase when he was in college where he got really interested in Islam. And he studied it, and, you know, I don't remember for how long, a couple of years, something like that. And he went to mosque for a while. And then he said the thing that started to bug him was not even so much like all the theological contradictions or problems, but he noticed that when you're actually applying Islam to Islamic people's lives, there's all of these different rulings. So it's the fiqh, which is the rulings in the legal side of Islam, which are always contradictory. Because you could have one school of Islamic ruling giving one thing that you do in prayer, and then another school over here says something totally contradictory. So if Allah wants unanimity and it's all about Allah and all of Islam being one, why would they be so divided on basic principles of practice? Now, a dumb Muslim's going to be like, well, Christians are divided. Well, we don't make the claim that all of Christianity, quote unquote, is valid and it's all one. We think that there's tons of sects, sectarians, and groups. But Islam makes the claim that it is specifically and especially one in a way that somehow proves Islam. Oh, but you see, we are one. We have this unity that no one else possesses, and this is one of the strengths of Islam. Well, if you listen to Kai's own personal experience and why he saw Islam as having really just a surface level appeal, and then it also has a massive amount of turnover. People don't realize that a lot of the people that convert to Islam, they only last 1 to 2 years because they actually see what it's like and they realize that it's ridiculous. So I'll play real quickly here this argument that convinced Kai to leave.
Of epistemology. None of these schools have a way of standardizing or demonstrating how these principles are to be used in an absolute sense.
He's talking about the principles of the rulings on ethical or worship practices.
Which principles and when and in what way are they to be applied in order to get you legal rulings? And so then what ends up happening here is this is all just guesswork. The different schools are in effect different epistemologies, different epistemic frameworks. And the reason why you have a proliferation of the different schools is because not any one of them can demonstrate their epistemic framework as being superior. They can believe that it is superior to the other ones, but they can't actually demonstrate it. And that's a problem. And that's a problem because Islam is supposed to be a divinely revealed religion. And if it's a divinely revealed religion, you should know what the principles are to arrive at legal rulings and how the whole system functions so that you don't end up with competing rulings that contradict each other. And so when I engage the local imam at the mosque and I say this and this and this and this and this and this, and the response is, don't ask too many questions. These are advanced topics. We're not going to get into this. And so I started seeing there's actually an aversion to want to talk about this stuff, to engage in these topics. And these are people who are sheikhs, imams. They're leaders of the community. They're the ones who are giving classes to teach the faith. They're the ones who are giving the Friday congregational prayer sermons. These are like the pillars of the community that they don't want to talk about their faith in a detailed way. They want everybody to just basically stay at a very dumb, uneducated level.
And that's true too. We saw in some of the debates when I would get into the nuances of Islamic theology, metaphysics, particularly debates on the attributes of Allah, that kind of stuff. You'll eventually get to a point in Islamic theological writings where you say, you are not permitted to ask questions beyond this point. What about the, for example, the question of there's nothing in creation that bears any similarity to Allah. And then you have the problem of the Quran being created and using words, which are creatures, to name Allah. And then it's like, well, how do we name Allah with created phrases and terms and concepts, but no creature bears any resemblance at all to Allah? And eventually you get to the point where many of the, imams and theologians have said, it is not permitted to ask question beyond this point. Do not ask.
They choose to wear it. It's not a trash bag that they force people to wear. Women can choose to dress modestly.
That's not true. Again, SNEAKO's lying because he just admitted that the law changed. So even according to what he's arguing in Saudi Arabia, it wasn't prior to the recent reform optional. It was mandatory. And now he's acting like because the law in Saudi Arabia changed that, well, see, it's not mandatory. But it was before that, you idiot.
Islam